seminar or evangelism or something, or there's some church activity I can do just to feel like I'm doing something productive, when the Holy Spirit's like, hello, you're supposed to be doing this. I don't want to do that. I'll do this instead, so I still feel like I'm doing something Christian-y. So the other thing that came to mind, I was just thinking about this, is John 4, the woman at the well. So Jesus points out, oh yeah, I know that's not your husband. And then she'll see, like, oh, let's change the subject. Oh, I see you're a prophet. What do you think about this? How often do we do that? We feel the prompting of the Holy Spirit to do something, and then let's change topics. Let's go. So anyway. Oh, and then with this rhetorical question, surely if I'm part of God's people, if I do what the majority of God's people are doing, I should be fine, right? All right. That sets the stage for our study in Numbers 13 and 14 today. All right, so can someone read? We're going to break it down in chunks and really slow down and chew on what's being said here. So can I have someone read for me Numbers 13, 1-3?
Numbers 13, 1-3. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I gave unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moses, by the commandment of the Lord, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel.
So whose plan was it to investigate the land?
Well, that's a good question.
So specifically, was it Moses' plan? All right. Now, can someone...
How much did it really help in the end when they have to do only marching around the city and it was God's doing?
Yep.
Did it really need to happen twice there?
Yeah. So someone else, keep your finger in Numbers, because we're gonna mostly operate at that. Someone read for me Chronicles 21, 1 Chronicles 21, 1-2.
First Chronicles
21. 1 Chronicles 21, verse 1 and 2. No, verse 1 and 2. Yeah. 1 Chronicles 21, verse 1 and 2.
And Satan stood against Israel and provoked David to number Israel. And David said unto Joah and to the rulers of the people, Go, number Israel from Beersheba even to Dan, and bring the number of them to me, that I may know it.
So whose plan was it in the case of David taking a military census?
Satan's.
Satan's plan. So we have God's plan. So both of it, there's an investigation going on. There's a quest for data. Now, in either of these cases, was it a mystery to God? So was this investigation for God's sake? Okay. So just chew on that difference for a second. Why was this pursuit of knowledge in in Numbers, this is okay, and this is not only okay with God, God commanded this to happen, but in David's case, he's curious about this, and that was wrong. What's the difference here?
I just wonder if was this all about for Rahab's sake?
Rahab's
To save Rahab and his family. Her family. Her family. I always mix up for he and his and hers.
Well, remember that this is 40 years, over 40 years before that. So, we're not there yet.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So, why was David taking that census? Anyone want to take a stab at that? So, what seed did Satan plant in David's heart in order to take that census?
Well, he wanted to see how strong he was. I mean, how strong
And why would you need to do that?
if you're depending on their strength.
So if he's depending on his own strength, whose strength is he not depending on?
God.
Okay. So keep that in the back of your mind as we continue to go through this. All right, so Numbers 13, 4 to 16. Numbers 13, 4 to 16. Someone that can enunciate well, because you're going to be doing a lot of names.
I just put that back.
So number 13, 4 to what?
4 to 16.
Number 16? Number 13.
Numbers 13.
Okay. Moses obeyed from the wilderness. I'm starting with 3 here, actually. Moses obeyed from the wilderness of Paran. He sent out leaders as follows. From the tribe of Reuben, he sent Shammua, son of Zakur. From the tribe of Simeon, he sent Shaphat, son of Hori. From the tribe of Judah, he sent out Caleb, son of Jephunneh. From the tribe of Issachar, he sent out Igal, son of Joseph. From the tribe of Ephraim, he sent out Hoshea, son of Nun. From the tribe of Benjamin, he sent out Palti, son of Raphu. From the tribe of Zebulun, he sent out Gadiel, son of Sodi. From the tribe of Manasseh, he sent out Gadi, son of Susi. From the tribe of Dan, he sent out Amiel, son of Gemali. From the tribe of Asher, he sent out Sether, son of Michael. From the tribe of Naphtali, he sent out Nabi, son of Voshi. From the tribe of Gad, he sent out, that's a pretty tough one, Gewel, son of Machi. These are the spies Moses sent to explore the land. He changed the name of Hoshea, son of Nun, to Joshua.
Okay.
You want more?
Nope, no, just till 16. Thank you. Now, notice the tribes of Caleb and Joshua. So that would respectively is Judah and Ephraim. Now, I noticed centuries prior, while Jacob, a.k.a. Israel, was given his last words, he had some rather somber last words for most of the sons. But he had some promising words for Judah and Ephraim. So I'm just going to read those here. Genesis 49, 8 to 2, he's talking about Judah. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow before thee. Judah as a lion's whelp From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be, binding his foal unto the vine, and his ass's colt into the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. So what tribe was Caleb from? Now, I find interesting is the very first verse, Judah, thou art him which thy brethren shall praise. Was he receiving praise in that moment? I know I'm kind of cheating and I'm kind of skipping ahead, referring to something we haven't read yet, but I'm sure most of us have read it in the past, know what's coming.
You're skipping behind.
There we go. But was Caleb praised by his brethren in that moment when he stuck his neck out?
When they heard that, when they heard that description about Judah, I think they recognized that his character and his personality and is very, very different from other brothers. Because God
Right.
chose him to be the one that actually Messiah will come.
Mm-hmm. But, okay, it's all right. Go on. But so the spoiler alert, so we're going to be talking about Caleb and Joshua, especially Caleb. Now so spoiler alert, yes, we look back on Caleb today with honor. What he did was praiseworthy. But in the moment, was it praiseworthy? Or was it the opposite of praiseworthy in the eyes of his brethren of the other tribes at that time?
Well, they certainly didn't agree with him.
Yeah. So the context of this, I think, is pretty important. Without getting too deep in the weeds there, I'm just going to move on to the Genesis 48 here, talking about Ephraim. Yes.
I read here in 8 verse 9, Judah is a lion well.
Yes.
It's not also have to do with David.
Mm-hmm. But I just want to focus here on there's these prominence that is given to both Judah and Ephraim. And what's interesting is these are the two of the 12 that stand up during this testing time. Okay, so Genesis 48, 17 to 20. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, it displeased him, and he held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head unto Manasseh's head. And Joseph said unto his father, Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thou right hand upon his head. And his father refused, said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he shall be great, but truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. And he blessed them that day, saying, In thee shall Israel bless, saying, God make thee as Ephraim and Manasseh. And he set Ephraim before Manasseh. So keep these prophecies in mind as we're looking at these two men here from Judah and Manasseh. Okay, so Numbers 13, someone can take Numbers 13, 17 to 20. Numbers 13, 17 to 20. If you'd like.
When Moses sent them out, he said to them, Go north from here into the southern part of the land of Canaan, and then on into the hill country. Find out what kind of country it is, how many people live there, and how strong they are. Find out whether the land is good or bad, and whether the people live in open towns or in fortified cities. Find out whether the soil is fertile and whether the land is wooded, and be sure to bring back some of the fruit that grows there. It was the season when grapes were beginning to ripen. That says how much you want?
Just for now, yeah.
I read here in 17 called on this way into the south.
Yeah.
Well, I heard was to the north.
I don't think, Glenn, I don't think he said.
My translation, it says, go north from here into the southern part of the land.
So, yeah, because it says, in King James, it says, get up this way, go you up this way, southward.
Well, it's only that we think the top of the map is, our maps all have the north on the top now, but maybe they didn't in those days.
And it was maybe a part of, maybe they already were on the south.
Yeah.
They had to go up north to get down to south.
Yeah, and they were still in the south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not salvational.
Okay. So we already established this scouting mission was not so God would know. But is this scouting mission, so did Moses need to know? And so keep in mind, he was commissioned all the way back in Exodus chapter 3, with the very goal to bring Israel to this land flowing with milk and honey. So, and then keep in mind his intimate relationship with God. Did you think Moses lacked the faith that as they're coming to the promised land, that this land is going to be anything less than a very prosperous, good land that's things grow like crazy?
Well, he wants all the information anyways. Kind of sounds like he was wondering.
So the answer, we're going to skip ahead quickly here. The answer comes in the next chapter, verse 22. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice. So starting with the lack of faith before crossing the Red Sea, and then ending with this scouting mission, God is testing their faith for their sake, because God already knows. So we know Moses communicated God's promised land goal with the people in Exodus 33. It mentions there as well, a land flowing with milk and honey. So the question remains, will the people trust that God will do what he says he will do? So we will find that out as we continue. Spoiler alert. No, they do not. Numbers 13, 21 to 27.
Say it again.
Numbers 13, verse 21 to 27.
Okay, so they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rehob, as men came to Hamath. And they ascended by the south and came unto Hebron, where Ahiman, Sheshai, and Talmai, and the children of Anak were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. And they came unto the brook of Eshcol, and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes. And they bare it between two upon a staff. And they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs. To 24?
27.
27. The place was called the brook of Eshcol, because of the cluster of grapes, which the children of Israel cut down from thence. And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moses, and to Aaron, and to all the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought backward unto them, and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land.
And 27, yeah.
Oh, and they told him and said, We came unto the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it.
So was God's portrayal of the land as one of plenty, a good land? Was it accurate? Did the scouts agree with God's portrayal? Okay. So the report verified it, and they even named.
They qualified the approval by the next couple verses.
I know. That's why I stopped at verse 27. So up until this point, yep.
Setting us up.
Yeah. So they even named a place after the grapes. They were so impressed with the grapes. So now someone read for me verse 28 and 29. In fact, Glenn, you could do it because you're not.
Because I'm onto it.
Yeah.
But the people who live there are powerful, and their cities are very large and well fortified. Even worse, we saw the descendants of the giants there. Amalekites live in the southern part of the land. Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites live in the hill country, and Canaanites live by the Mediterranean Sea and along the Jordan River.
So there's a but. But it's all a guess. Marco?
That's interesting how God actually gives incredible encouragement them to see that this is what God God provides for us in the future. But then, and that is actually what's happening in the church today. He is giving us encouragements, like example, mission fields, and how there's a revivals taking place here and there, and that encourages us not to give up, that we will stand to the very end. And then, but is that we will have an enemy still loose, and he is testing, and no, he is
Opposing?
He's a receiver, and he's trying to discourage us all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, different ways to just see our weaknesses and see our difficulties, and just focus, that we would focus on those things.
Implanting doubt.
Yeah.
Now, I want to contrast this with another but situation. A but, and then there's a failure in faith. Okay, so Matthew 14:30. In fact, I can read this one. Matthew 14:30 says, but, this is Peter, but when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried, Lord, save me. So what was the major difference between Peter's lack of faith and the scouts? Right. In any of their complaint about the mighty enemies, was there anything in that about, Lord, help us?
I'd like to play the devil's advocate here.
Go ahead.
I've been watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been watching Bart D. Ehrman, Ehrman, and regarding this boat off the shore in Galilee, when Peter was in the boat and Jesus was walking toward him, it was a horrendous, tumultuous storm. So when they were trying to row away from the shore, they didn't get very far.
Mm-hmm.
So when Jesus was walking toward them, he may have been walking in 2 inches of water, but they didn't realize. They thought they were further out because they'd been rowing and rowing, but the wind was blowing them back to the coast. And when he got out of the water, he sort of walked a couple of steps and then, choom! And Jesus, he says, you saved me. He pulled him up. because he was still on firm land under the little bit of water.
Well, I see a little bit differently. I believe that they're in the deep water.
Well, I don't see the devil's advocate in that. That's just further detail.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Devil's advocate is in that it sort of denies the miracle of Jesus walking on the water. That's the devil's advocate part, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the shore that day watching it, so I think it could be possibly right too.
It makes you think, the person
Yes,
think,
it does.
and there's nothing wrong with thinking. It's not salvation.
well, but yeah, the point remains: what's the difference between Peter's response and what we see Israel's response?
And that's the most important part.
Well, and to on that point, there is a danger in applying. Sorry, I got my head up, so I'm speaking to the mic. There's a danger applying Jesus's flesh attributes to God. And then, so in other words, like that miracle of wine, like that was just hyperbole or metaphor or whatever, and we try to explain away to make the miracles Jesus did as well. They're not actual miracles, and if our view of God becomes something that can be just contained in our earthly understanding, why would you call out to a being that is in the same boat as you, pun intended? If you think his capabilities are no greater than yours, like hold on. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying there's a danger.
No. Jesus Christ, if we follow his writings and only his writings, we'll be on the right track in history. That's what we should be following. And he created lots of miracles. There's backup for him. We're not saying it's not a miracle, but this is a possibility. That's all she said.
He wasn't in the boat, he was out of the boat.
That's not good.
Well,
Everything else.
okay. Well, then I'll go right into a thing that is actually being used right now. So, is Mary the mother of Jesus?
So back then, people did believe that back then, people did believe that some people were divine. It was a very normal thing. Like it was to have people that were divine with God. So we don't really consider that these days. We don't think of it as a logical thing these days. But these kind of things were more normalized back then and were more logical, actually. They were accepted as logical miracles. But we use our explanations sometimes to form it into our modern world and our modern thinking. And the more we do that, the farther away we seem to get from the understanding of what is divine and what is secular.
Good point.
Yep. So, but this is I want to finish this tangent because this is happening now. Okay. Well, and it's been happening for hundreds of years, but it's particularly though in ecumenism this is happening. So, so Mary is the mother of Jesus. Okay. So now I'm going to tell you ahead of time, this is a trap. So consider your answer carefully. Okay. Is Jesus God, full stop? And keep in mind, this is a trap question.
Well,
So
it says in the Bible, doesn't it, Nathan, that Jesus Christ said, "Don't pray to me, pray to your God."
Okay. let me finish. I'm going to finish the trap. By transitive property, so in other words, if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C, right? So if Mary is the mother of Jesus and Jesus is God, can we say Mary is the mother of God? No. So in other words, there's something missing in that equation. Right. So then Jesus is God in the flesh. So he is Emmanuel, he's God with us. There's something distinct about God's earthly ministry in the essence of Jesus. And so she's only mother in that she's mother of the flesh. That's the only part she took place in. God has no mother. He's eternal. So if we can focus, we can get caught up in this trap of applying the fleshly attributes that Jesus had during his earthly ministry to God. And then we limit God. So for example, does God bleed? Is God mortal? But then Jesus, then that means God was mortal. And so this is why Ellen White said that we have to be very careful when we deal with this topic, because we risk diminishing the status of the Son of God. By him condescending into human flesh did not negate his authority or anything whatsoever, but there is a mystery in that God came to us in the flesh. And that should never diminish what he's capable of, because otherwise we risk not calling out to him, the Almighty God, who absolutely can save us from all our troubles. Yes?
A question. Where in the Bible does it say that Jesus is God in the flesh?
It's in his very name, God with us.
Doesn't say it, you're right.
God with us.
God with us.
Yes.
Oh, so the Hebrew translation for Emmanuel is the Son of God.
with us.
And angels are called Son of God.
Yep.
Sons of God.
The Hebrew translation is Emmanuel, means son
Well,
of God.
so he's the only begotten Son of God. So he's not a created being. So before there anything that was, he was with the Father creating. So he again, this comes down to the point that he has no mother. Sorry, go ahead.
He became flesh.
Yes.
He didn't say
Yeah.
He took a man's flesh. He took so that he can communicate with us.
Yeah. So I just want to cap that tangent so we can get back to this. The whole point of going on that tangent was to make clear God is all powerful. And so just because we see him in this vulnerable state should not, like what we saw with Peter. In fact, Peter's calling out to him while he's in the flesh. So how much more so, should the Israelites, when they're seeing him in this pillar of fire and this massive cloud, and then they see him open up the Red Sea, how much more of them they have? Anyway, blows my mind.
Nathan, I have one question though.
Yes.
How come when Jesus was being killed on the cross, he said, "Father, why did you forsake me?" That means there's two different identities there.
That's the name of one of the Psalms. I believe that basically what that is saying is that Jesus called out that psalm. That's my interpretation of it. Because
Right.
one of the Psalms starts with that line.
Yes, thank you.
That was
exactly that.
But I just wanted to say something about this, the distinction between the flesh and the spirit. Where are we supposed to draw the line? I mean, we're supposed to say, Jesus didn't like really going to parties, and when they ran out of wine, he'd turn the water into wine or whatever. There's all kinds of things we could say, well, this is just the fleshy body, but that's not really the spiritual body. I mean, I don't see a lot of distinction there. And where do we draw the line in these things? It was a miracle that he turned the water into wine, was it not? Etc. I mean, so he's got these powers all the way along there.
I want to move on from this, but Imian, do you have a point that can help wrap this up? Yes.
Not sure I'm intending to wrap it up. I'd love to stir it up. But just because it's interesting, I'm curious where everybody's going with it, or the different points are going. Because when Abraham, the word Emmanuel, or the portion of the word Emmanuel, as I'm researching just now, still, best I can tell, is used like Avinu. It's like Father with us. Emmanuel, El is God, and Emmanuel is with us. So it seems like it's meaning God with us consistently, but I'm interested to see where else that goes. But I want to go back to this idea of division, and when we're asking, when Jesus said, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" in the context of Abraham, okay? God's covenant with Abraham was this burning fire and this smoke, which walked up in between the divided pieces. In the traditional covenant that would be made, both parties would walk between the pieces, which signified that if I do not keep my portion of this covenant, let me be divided as these creatures. So God was saying, I'm going to go through this for me, and I'm going to go through this for you, Abraham. And Abraham, symbolically representing the rest of humanity, didn't keep the covenant. And so there needed to be a division of the being who didn't keep the covenant. And God allowed himself to be divided. So in order for God to keep his promise to Abraham, saying, I'm going to take your place, and I'm going to be divided in your behalf, God had to be divided asunder. So I'm just curious how Jesus being as part of God or not God plays into the idea that in order for God to keep his promise to us, he had to be divided.
Well, yeah, there's garments divided, but
Yeah,
go ahead.
I have Hebrews chapter 2, verse 14, showing that Jesus was flesh. It says, "For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is the devil."
Mm-hmm. Well, and then I'll just finish on this verse, and then we get back to Numbers here. So 1 John 4:3, "And every spirit that confesseth not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is not of God, and this is that spirit of Antichrist, whereof ye have." All right. So let's get back to Numbers 13 here. So verse 30 to 33, can someone read that for me? Numbers 13, 30 to 33.
30 to 33. "And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, The land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of a great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight.
Now, we're going to pause just before going into the next chapter. Did Moses, while they're giving this evil report, did Moses interrupt their negative report? Did Caleb and Joshua, from what we see, was there any plan that Caleb and Joshua planned together to back each other up? Okay, so it was just initially Caleb speaking up, going against the clearly majority opinion. So at this moment, it's effectively a hung jury. 11 verses 1. Now, from what we read later, it doesn't look like Joshua was joining in the negative report, but he wasn't standing up at this time, from the sounds of it, like Caleb was. So it's like one man holding up a trial. And I'm not sure if you've ever been on a jury, but if you have one person that refuses to cooperate.
But doesn't Joshua then speaks and says
Later on, but this is why we're making this pause. So initially, it's only Caleb standing up. Yet, so you have one witness among 12 that sounds out of place, and just going by our witness type of logic, that one witness is probably untrustworthy if they're not lining up with that, everything else to say. Amy, and I see your hand in the back. Go ahead.
Sorry, this is actually a warning to myself as well of all of us in the room. Is even in the conversation we're having this morning, there might be one or two people who are presenting a different view. Mm-hmm. We should always be careful when one or two people are presenting a different view, because this is the situation with the spies and Caleb.
Right.
Right? We should be careful to listen.
Yeah.
They should have listened to Caleb. So, yeah, I mean, I just think we should be careful of the momentum of the mass and not listening carefully, considering what's being said.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, there will be I'm hate to say this, but there's a very few Caleb's in God's on God's side. I remember when I was called in the army, and there was 100 people standing on the line, and there's the first time that we met the corporals and all these big shots, and they were just yelling in the front there, and we have to just respond. And then there's a call that is there anybody have any religious reasons not to take a weapon? And I had this conviction already because I read a book anyways, and I didn't have a very much religious background, so but I refused to really have that education to learn how to kill. Anyways, I have to step. They said you have to step 3. Is anybody there? You have to step 3 steps forward. And I have to take a first time ever in my life make a decision there to be a different. And I stepped 3 steps, and then my friends who had ethical reasons, they stepped after me. And I'm sort of seeing that we will have this kind of situations in life from here on till Christ comes, where we have to stand what we believe. And it happens And it will be a challenge for us when we need to witness for people and testify the truth as it is in the scripture.
So you brought up an interesting point about so you had some friends that stepped forward as well, right? But you were the first to step forward, right? So it makes you wonder, would they have stepped?
And then they ask, is there ethical reasons?
Yeah. So it makes me, because like it's hardest for the first person. And so as long as you have one or two others that have taken it, it's easier. Like once the path is started to be beat a little. So it also makes me wonder with like I'm sure Joshua was paying attention when he saw Caleb stand up. Sorry, Glenn, were you going to say something?
This season we're studying the book of Joshua. As I've said, if the only things I had available to me were things like the book of Joshua, I wouldn't be a Christian. I mean, I see almost no justification in the book of Joshua for what they do, which is go from town to town and kill all the women, children, and people who live there. The first city they come to, they kill all the animals as well, the dogs and cats and horses and stuff like that. I don't see the justification. The Gibeonites tricked the Hebrews, and so they were okay. So in other words, they had children and wives and whatnot. It was okay. The Hebrews could live in that country with those people. I mean, they'd have to be servants, as we know. Anyways, what I'm just saying is, I don't see what the atrocity was, and I know that in a community there's children. Why did they kill all these people? I mean, to me, I'm not convinced by the book of Joshua that this is really a great thing. I understand. It goes along with the story. You guys can have this land that's got a bunch of people already living in it. You can have this. I've promised it to you. And so you can go in. And the people, you can see that one of the reasons that they fought some of these people was that the kings got together to try and stop the Hebrews from coming through. And they saw what they were doing. Every town they went to, they killed everybody in the town. Anyways, I'm just bringing this up because it bugs me when I read about it. It doesn't look like a thing that's well justified within the book of Joshua.
So, quick recap.
I'll stop there for a sec.
Yeah. Quick recap. Was that God's original plan? So right now in Numbers here, we're at the first approach. Hold on. This was the first approach coming to the Promised Land. Okay. So they got turned around okay. So, but in the lead up to this first approach to the Promised Land, what was God's plan as if they went in at this point in time? If they had faith and they went in, how was God's going to deal with the people of the land? Yes.
They would be a priest to God, and they would witness and testify, and they will be...
But specifically, compared to what we see in Joshua, because the book of Joshua is the result of after 40 years. So there's sin, increased difficulty. So God's original plan for the Promised Land is he was going to push them out of the city versus natural events, have pests and beasts and whatnot, chase them out of the city. So they would survive, but they would be chased out, and it would allow them to move in. And he wouldn't do it all at once. It was going to be a gradual process so that the towns wouldn't be abandoned and become wilderness again. And so because of the lack of faith of the Canaanites, they were going to be exiled. And then because of the faith of the Israelites, they were going to get the blessing of the land. But now you have two people with lack of faith. You have the Canaanites who have spent, so not only has their time come and gone, so their judgment of being exiled is now 40 years past, so now you have another 40 years of sin. And you have the Israelites who had rejected that initial plan of, here, I'm going to come in, I'm going to move them out of the way. No, we don't believe you can do that. So there's more difficulty now because of sin. That wasn't God's plan. Original plan, yes.
Oh, so many microphones. So I think, when Marco was telling his story about standing and taking the 3 steps forward, I think it really, it can be so complicated and it can be so simple, in my opinion. Like the question that really, it comes down to what is in our heart. And the question might be, at some point, when we really have to make the choice, do you believe that God is the highest good there is? Or do you not? Do you want to wrestle with him until you believe it? What do you, what will you? Mm-hmm. So when we read the word and we come across these stumbling blocks, they are tests for our heart, and they are tests for our mind, and they are tests for our faith. And we think we're looking at these things, these cruel and harsh tribulations, and murderous even, and we're looking at it. Is it our sin that we are looking at? Is it God's? So we have all these things put before us, and then what will we then believe? Is God the highest good?
And know what he's doing. It is a challenge for us, and it will be a challenge specifically closer to the end of time. Mm-hmm. Because we will go through the time of trouble as never was in this world. So, which means that it's a worldwide, and every human being is involved.
So
what is it to be alive in the world of the dead when the world has become so utterly evil? What is it to be alive in it? Jesus said, "Let the dead bury their own dead." Follow me.
So, since we're running out of time here, I just want to quickly end on this point, and then I'll have someone close us in prayer. So in Numbers 14, we see it escalates. So it's not just 10, just 1 or 2 standing up against the others. Now it's 4. So you got Moses, Aaron, Joshua, and Caleb against hundreds of thousands of people clamoring to, let's find a new captain. Let's a new leader, and let's go back to Egypt. So right now, 2025, influencers, political, religious leaders are saying Sunday, it's the Lord's Day. Right now. So soon it will be the masses saying it. Right now, the influencers are saying Sabbath is not God's seal, including in the SDA church, but rather the Holy Spirit is the seal of God. And soon it will be the masses saying it. And so they'll be looking down on those who don't have that popular spirit. Just like it was with Caleb and Joshua and Moses and Aaron. What do you mean? Your disagreement means nothing compared to all of us. Now, is there a special blessing in being a witness while the masses are still undecided? Did Caleb receive a special blessing for being that person that first stood out? Yeah. All right. So that's the thought I want to leave you with today is while we are the masses are still undecided and the influences are still influencing, you too can stick your neck out for God. Amen. All right. So Could someone close up? In fact, Emian, since you're the one who tapped the watch, you can close us in prayer.
Lord, thank you for time.
Sure.
There's not much of it, but we are grateful for every breath. We're grateful for the opportunity to discuss ideas, to discuss our understanding of life and of this world and of your teachings. And we want to pray that you will guide us all into a greater understanding and commitment to you and to peace in our hearts and to a bravery that's willing to stand up, for we have stood before you, more importantly because we've knelt before you